Hello, it's me once again, Soseki Natsume, returning to because I have, like a cat, 9 lives, and they never go away. So, I figured I would do good for myself here, and, things just took a turn for the worse again. I've been involved in another case again, and you're gonna see it in its full glory. So joining me, as always, because they have cats themselves, we're one big happy cat family, is, we've got Circus and Mooney, and then Sylph will be joining later on, because she's eating dinner, and she's gonna come back once it's fully cooked. And I wish I can have some dinner, but I have no fucking money to my name.
Here, have a ice, honey. It'll make you feel better.
Can I have your fish and chips instead?
No, this is mine.
Alright.
You belong to the kids.
So this is called The Memoirs of the Clouded Kukoro. So it's kind of a play on the fourth case of the first game, because that's what it takes place. It takes place between the fourth and the fifth case of the first game, so it's a mid-quote. But you'll see as we go through. And unfortunately, Circus and Mooney can't hear the cutscene because we're screen sharing this on Discord instead of Skype this time, because Skype kicks Circus off.
I guess I'm a bad bitch.
But you can read the subtitles.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night.
It was ghastly tale.
One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Prepare for a lot of Shakespeare jokes.
I'm sorry, returning.
Yes, well, for the time being, until Sylph gets back.
Yeah.
My name is Renosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. Having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particular grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate.
Hey, go!
Oh no, scrambled eggs again?
Pancake.
Ah, Rena! God! was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Bacon again? Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the obtruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it.
Oh, get out my face!
Lay me a wet one, big guy.
No!
The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, those two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. Can I talk now? But of course, of course! Though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you.
Haley, pulled your button off?
Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
But Haley, Bruno said he came in. That's when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning.
Well, that really is a surprise. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name.
Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat bacon before it gets cold.
But I love cold bacon.
And I have new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special brand.
Oh,
And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes is published in Rance magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter from Japan.
Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it? Really?
That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Oh yes, what's fun?
This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by international post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume... No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped the man. Twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache.
That's a good way of putting it.
He doesn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley.
You don't know that for certain.
Yes, you do. Shut up.
Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Sasato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Oh yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Sasato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago? For what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Sasato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes! It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story was not to be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well.
Really? I said that? Are you sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Mrs. Sato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan?
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No, it just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter... Fever, death, I can't tell the difference.
Talk about absent-minded or what?
Don't blame me. I once had a high fever, and I remember hallucinating all about pink elephants.
Dude, it took you like 5 hours to get, like, under anesthesia. Come on!
Oh, you remember that, but you don't remember the woman getting stabbed in this case. Okay.
Well, pretty much because you are a big figure in this story, unlike her.
Oh, I see. Well, this whole case is gonna turn that around for you.
Let's get to it.
That news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that? I wonder what Mrs. Sato's father is hiding.
Haley, do you know what this all about?
Ah, well, who can say? What? But you said...
He can dress so fast.
Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Haley. Don't worry. See you later.
Child's born competent in this guy.
Bye-bye! He scuttled off rather quickly there. Now I'm just imagining him running like Benny Hill.
Play the freaking... Play the damn song.
I don't know, is that song copyrighted?
It probably
Damn.
is.
Damn it.
I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. So Seki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found them at last.
Iris, are they...
The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Muno?
Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
So, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world, because of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain.
What the hell?
Well, you remember the last case?
Sorry, I was talking about my cat. Sorry.
Oh.
I thought he was like in the bedroom asleep. Apparently he was in here the whole time.
It was 6 months ago. A mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick, and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Sasato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And, after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous, jubilant jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. We We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness.
Oh, thank God.
Hurry to Bart's at once. Bart!
Bart.
So Sasato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. And you'll notice the mouse in the corner.
Yeah.
I think that's her pet rat.
Harry Potter. Okay.
There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Oh. There's no Melanie here. You're late. What on earth took you so long? Well, we had to drink about 147 glasses of melonade before we ate about 147 fluffity puppily marmalades.
Don't you have to go to the bathroom?
No. Oh, I drank too many melonade.
Are you sure you don't have to go to the bathroom?
No. It's
Okay.
your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what has felt like an eternity.
Hey, Soph.
So,
Yeah?
Hi.
you just,
It's
hold
echoing
on.
again.
Hi, it's a pleasure to see you again, Sylph.
Nice to see you again, too.
In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that.
An asshole! Oh, I got woken up early, so now you get woken up early. 'cause fuck
Exactly.
you.
I mean, you live in my house, so it's only fair. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. He's only just regained consciousness. I mean, she.
Oh,
You
it's
should
her.
you should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here.
Pussy.
So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with the knife in her back.
Her name is... yes, here we go. Miss Green.
Good morning. Hello. I'm Renosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan.
Oh no! Was it your knife that? Are you the man who?
No. I'm a lawyer.
And I'm Susato Miko Choba. Pleased to meet you.
Was it your knife then? Are you the one?
Oh, no, I assure you. Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you our best wishes.
Best wishes for me. Thank you. I'm Olive. Olive green. I'm an artist.
Oh, pink color.
Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back.
I don't think that's related, actually.
Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down.
Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
Okay that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time.
But the case has been solved, hasn't it? While I was been here in the hospital, I mean.
Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes.
No, it wasn't.
Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case.
Are you yet to
Sorry.
hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly.
Oh, I see.
I told you I was gonna be loud with this one. Me coming around to see me made everyone frashly busy. I'm so sorry. I should have never have regained consciousness. It's so selfish of me.
Oh no. We're all so relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are.
With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green?
Oh no! I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really. At the Thurgaheim Academy of Fine Arts.
Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts?
Oh, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Braxton Road.
I see. How very interesting.
Oh no! Is it?
Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here. And Thorndyke Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Center. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less suburbious part of town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means? I suppose Seki-san does fit the bill. Well, fuck
Why is he
you
s-
too.
She's sweating so hard right now.
And I'm not even moving. It's just a still picture of me. It
Hey, hold on, I
struck-
just gotta say this. I like how that rat is just vibing right there.
Scabbers, what are you doing over there? Oh, you know, just trying to hide myself away from revealing to Voldemort where your parents were located. It struck me as someone of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all. What's this? Is the rat trying to speak to us? Is he trying to communicate? Do we have to do Star Trek technology with the rat?
Give me cheese, give me cheese, give me cheese. That's all he's saying.
Oh my god, and I'm already thinking of. I have because in the game I have that there's one of the characters in there that I play that he has an intense dislike towards rats.
Oh,
So much so he doesn't even want to hear the word. He doesn't want to hear the name.
Old guy's missing his telenova.
He would not get along in the mafia then, because they use that word all the time. What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
The rat's like,
Damn,
you got
boy."
that right! Oh dear me, do forgive me.
If you don't mind,
I mind.
I get discharged shortly, so I'll pack up my things. I need to pack up my things, damn it!
And thank God, because I'm gonna jump in your bag. Haha.
Hey, Mickey Mouse here!
You bastard!
I'm gonna move out. I'm gonna take the next boat over to America, and I'm gonna be a worldwide sensation. Haha.
We're still gonna get sued for this.
No,
Oh,
it's just a parody. We can't.
I don't
E
know what
was but spelled I-E instead of E-Y.
Yeah. Oh yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. And I'm gonna have a pet dog, and I'm gonna have a friend that's a dog, and then I'm gonna have a rival that's a cat, and a cat, a duck. What am I saying?
I never got this whole idea of pets having pets.
Look, there's a photograph in this frame here.
Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
Why, Bill?
It looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry.
See, I'm not the only one getting their characters confused tonight.
You're so used to talking in your own thoughts with Sasato being the defense attorney for the last case.
Yes.
Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
I was also distracted by how the haircut made me think of Coconut Head.
Now you just
My,
think of
my.
me.
What were you gonna say?
I was thinking about that Choo Choo Kid from that show.
Am I, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart.
I'm not a cardiologist. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of.
I don't think a cardiologist was a thing back then.
Is there a Mr. Narrow Fodder here? Mr. Narrow Fodder? Narrow Fodder now?
Wait, I have a question. Am I still the judge even though we're in a different land now?
No.
Okay.
2 different judges, 2 different restaurants.
Keep your wife away from me.
Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but... Ah, Mr. Narrow Fodder. Good. This is for you. It's a message from a Mr. Saucy Nutsmeg. Mr. Natsume sent a message to me?
Sounded like a porn name.
Yeah.
Saucy Nutmeg.
Nutmeg. Well, that's
It's
gonna be one hell of a
He's
porno.
got the stash for it.
Saucy
like the pimp,
Nutsmeg.
like the. Are you talking about like the porn star or the pimp stash?
Yes.
He does have a fucking porn star. I guess he is considered a porn star in the day.
Well, Naked Spaghetti has a new character, Saucy Nutsmeg.
We need to get our animation going.
You have eat your heart out. Rest in peace, my dude.
During the day, he works at the laundromat. At night, he makes his living just trying to entertain adults on Pornhub.
No. He's Shane's next door neighbor.
Oh, God. And all he
Does
hears
scream.
is screams every time he's trying to sleep.
Screams and moans, and sometimes hear the glass break in case like something's going wrong off the set.
Then sometimes a vacuum cleaner going, and then sometimes you hear a cow, but no, he's not doing anything naughty. He's just watching a nature documentary.
I thought it'd be much funnier with a goat. With
And all of a
the
sudden-
screaming noise.
Screaming goat, like the screaming goat meme.
And then all of a sudden, you start hearing like war music playing in the background at the same time. Ride of the Valkyries from Apocalypse Now.
Jane, I've had an interesting life. I was in the war, and now I'm a porn star.
How did you get the name Saucy Nutsmeg? Well, funny you should ask. That was the only thing that they had for rations were Nutsmeg, but it was this weird liquidy thing, and we used to call it Saucy. And the funny thing was, I made it because I was the army cook. So that's what they used to call me every time because that was the only thing that we were making, like in terms of rations.
I just thought it was your porn name.
I'm thinking
Well, that's
that,
how
and
they
then
gave
she,
it to me.
and then I'm probably thinking he might have an accomplice that's known as like Miss Sexy Saucy. A funny thing, cause in this Japanese restaurant I often go to the Hibachi Grill for, that they have this sauce called Yum Yum sauce, but in my town and that restaurant they call it sexy sauce.
Why?
Oh boy. Maybe that's what they put on the Naked Spaghetti when eventually they're like, "Hey, can we just put a little bit of sauce on it?"
No,
Sure
that's what
thing, we
put
got it. And one of the sauces that we have is called sexy sauce. It'll
There you
make
go.
it'll make you even look sexy pouring it.
Excuse me, young lady. We like to put this so-called sexy sauce on our rice at our rice restaurant in Japan.
that can work too. It goes all around.
Yes. It'll be our new main dish.
Oh gosh, I missed a line, but that's fine.
Okay. I thought you read it. I'm sorry. We got so caught up with porn. We got so caught up in porn
Well,
names.
I'll try and remember it. Why would Natsume-san have a message delivered from the police?
Well, exactly. What's going on here? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning?
Because I need my fish and chips, bitch.
Oh, what are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh. Well, this is most unexpected.
You take the letter?
He did.
He did. Snagged it
something
out of his
wrong?
hand too.
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note?
You snagged it out of his hand, dude.
No, how could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest.
Yeah, right.
A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Murder?
Aw, shit. Here we go again.
Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit at his lodging once we did. That would be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
It's all here in the notes, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what?
Sorry, what?
Not again.
Oh, hell, what is that word?
What the fuck?
Fiacre?
Fiacre.
I'll try it once.
Maybe Google pronunciation app. I'll check later. It was only
Looking
yesterday
this
when
up.
Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the
Fiacre. It's
time.
Fiacre.
Oh, okay. Or it so seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought.
Gosh, the way this person's saying it is like Fiacre, French, fuck. It's very robotic sounding.
Yeah.
Let me. Alright, let me
Microsoft
look it up. Alright, let me look it up now.
Put engine. Oh. Hello there.
What on earth?
Fiacre.
Oh my, the gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead.
Oh shit!
I think I remember him.
Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Did you do now?
Mr. Natsume, or Mr. Saucy Natsume. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me?
Did this happen to me? I made my mistakes.
Got nowhere to run.
Just dealt with the court.
Okay, Fiacre. A small four-wheeled carriage for public hire.
Oh. Why couldn't it have said, "Oh, hey, I'll hail the carriage"? You gotta be fucking extra, me.
Well, we've had the extra
Wait.
money from all those court cases you were in.
Well, I like how you just say that to your own character. Like imagining your character talking to Sasato, like, why are you being so extra?
Gosh, she just reminded me of a thing that, like, I was forgot a word, like what the word meant, and I looked it up and I'm like, wait, why did I use this word? Why was I trying to be fancy again? I could have used this simpler word.
I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day and there's no early bird to catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
What?
I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Ah! Not the horrible hairlock Shomes. Shoo! Shove off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you!
Mr. Shums came here with us. Quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you?
Every time she makes that face, it always looks like he's taking a shit. Can I have my Gregerson back? please?
Yes, he was never
And he's
taken.
here.
Tis! Here we are again. Tis. There they are already. The busybodies.
Ah, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise.
Pleasant, is it? Give me a heartburn every time I see your face at the crime scene shows.
Ha! I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector.
This crime is a crime scene. Don't you go be touching anything.
Aw, but I wanted the hat.
Or good morning to you too, sunshine.
The crown. Wait, no, I wanted the crown.
Oh, you're already taking all his costumes? Jeez.
It's not like he's gonna use it in the afterlife.
Oh, come on.
So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he?
Circus?
Mr. William Shakespeare.
Shamsphere! It's copyrighted, damn it!
Shakespeare. Right, Shakespeare, sorry. I forgot my glasses today. He was a lodger here. As you could probably tell, he was an actor, a bit of a dead loss as it happened. Or just dead.
Just like play-faced or just dead.
Mr. Shamsphere.
Basically resting bitch face.
It was landlord, Mr. Greville. And the other lodger, Mr. Natsumi, who found him. The fella didn't raise at his usual hour. Nor had Ray kick the door down.
Guy open up.
But doesn't Mr. Garadip have a bad leg?
Yeah. Right. You're right there. It was just jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking.
Dang, I want to do some kicking.
I can't believe we called him a hunchback.
That's fucking rude.
You're lucky I'm not in Notre Dame right now. Otherwise, you'd be Frodo, and I would be Quasimodo, taking your ass all the way down the burning tower.
He is Esmeralda.
Don't you mean the burning cathedral?
Oh, that's right. I forgot my movies.
It's
Really?
okay.
So Seki-san?
The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes.
Oh, to answer your question, Sylph, in terms of Esmeralda, it would definitely be the dead guy.
Oh gosh.
He had no money.
That is hilarious. And you would wonder who would be freaking the Phoebus of the situation.
Oh, I don't know.
He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintance were the people in this house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it.
So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene?
I'm not saying it because the fellow looks odd or anything, or as that he acts suspicious, but I thought it would be a prudent to take a statement from the cohibitor.
This is...
You nearly said culprit there, didn't you?
Who are you gonna tell, my mommy?
Who are you gonna call? I know.
Oh dear, Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again.
That's not been proven yet. Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Well, fuck you too, Mr. Narrow Fodder.
Poor man. How unfortunate.
See, she gets it.
Right. I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella had been a goner that long. The body is still warm.
Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body.
It's such a weird thought.
Oh god, yeah. What, the thought of touching somebody's corpse?
Yeah.
What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. So, the victim lived here on the ground floor and your room is just 1 story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So did you know the victim? Were you friends?
And set him to vibrate.
What's the matter with Soseki-san now?
I think he
It was
broke
an
his
innocent
brain.
enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? No, never! On my honor, I swear it.
Dude, it was just a question. Jesus.
An extreme reaction.
This is like the opposite of being friend-zoned.
Bro.
You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Throw that inspector over there!
There's Mr. Sholmes just leaning across the evidence.
He's doing his best JoJo impression. What are you talking about? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Imagine, my dear Mr. Naruhodo, that they call this Sherlock's Bizarre Adventure.
Maybe we need to write into the creators of this game and mention that.
Huh. You only need to observe it, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose.
He ain't a natural man, I hate to say it.
Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened.
Oh, you know, nothing big. My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life.
Both of you.
Ah!
Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow? No, don't mind me. Forget I was here.
Freaking jump scared us.
And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. Nonsense! All right, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please pretend I'm not here.
This is a guy who could do the Batman song.
Invisible, inevitable, inscrutable, insignificant. Oh, hold on, let me do it. Hold on. Oh, no. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the YTM&D fad. My bad. That's different.
The screen flickered on my end a little bit.
Probably because of the white flash that pops up every time.
Oh.
Yeah, that's intentional from the game.
Thanks.
Possible to ignore.
You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail.
But of course. Let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular Act 1. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night.
What the hell is he wearing?
Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably.
It looks like butter.
Why is this soap set so purposely upon the dish? Like the victim last supper, in fact. Yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life.
Oh my god.
That's right, I can take Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson.
I was thinking about you doing the hustle.
Do the hustle. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end, he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though, personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course.
The hell, dude?
I mean, they eat it in Bertie Bott's every flavor beans in Harry Potter. The cause of death identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, sir. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed. What reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap from whence wafted an inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on his way to the hereafter.
Is that a pun?
Dude. And what?
I
Okay,
just
I'm
zoned
gonna
out.
I'm just gonna shut my mouth because it ain't even produced to that.
Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction.
Like I said, I just zoned out. What the fuck, dude?
The guy died from suicide by eating a bar of soap. That's the deduction.
Oh, no, no. I'm just eating my chips. What?
There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap could suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing.
How extraordinary.
In truth, I have tried the little soap myself in the past. You've eaten it, you mean?
Explains
my
a lot.
My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. You gotta remember, this is 1900s.
I had.
Oh, yes, when Coke had actual Coke in it, and
Yeah.
medicine was full of drugs.
And they actually
And,
used
and going on a diet meant ingesting a tapeworm, and leeches were medical.
And they used to wipe clean kids' mouth out with bar of soaps like my mother did when I was a kid. Tried to.
And mine, I
And did it?
Hell no.
think. No.
As I writhed in agony on the floor and split the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. The experience, now I'm just picturing me going, oh, my stomach! Just writhing
I wonder
on
if
the
I
floor.
was going to take care of them during that point.
Are you really that serious? So you really think that would be a good idea for you to eat the soap that early?
It was an experiment, Iris, an experiment. I'm a scientist, too. Give me some slack. The
Guys,
experience...
it's only an experiment if you write it down.
Oh, shit. I don't have a pen or paper.
I never
Must,
thought you'd be able to use it that way.
must reach desk to write things. Oh, shit.
I think he just pooped his pants.
Bloody hell,
Oh,
I've
no.
crapped my pants.
Hold on,
Iris,
now.
give me a fresh stickers.
Oh,
No!
wait, they didn't have They didn't have, like, very good toilets back then, either.
Yeah, the whole London back then smelled like shit.
The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste that leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it.
It's like
Believe
a
me.
weird Amazon review.
I know. You know what I want to do now? I want to go and see like some random bar of soap on Amazon and just put down that quote from Herlock Sholmes. Just one star it.
Well, you can always do it on Amazon, trust me. Do it for dial soap or something.
I wonder if they have something like that for Reddit, like r/random soap comments.
Like random soap stories.
Yes, r/random soap stories. Let's go.
You know what? I'll just type in this exact moment in there and see if anyone catches on.
You just gotta word it a little bit differently, but yeah.
Yes.
Wait, wouldn't he have gotten like violent diarrhea as well?
Yes.
Yes.
When he shit his pants.
Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did.
Sure, it may even have the fragrance of that said soap, but no.
There's something that troubles me as well, actually.
Oh, what's that?
Chester, leave my purse alone.
It's Mr. Natsume.
Ah,
Couldn't help noticing him, shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye.
The man's a witness.
Almost as if Mr. Sholm's deductions touched a nerve somehow.
no, nonsense. Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last.
I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, Great Detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth.
Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it at an obtuse angle. When he does that, it fails to us to straighten things out. It falls to us, not fails to us. Alright, then,
Well,
let's see what we can do.
Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions. Disregard the soap eating and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. Alright, let's do this.
In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular Act 1.
Don't act it a silhouette.
You would think, but no. Cab's observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, one half of a sizable bar of butter, I mean soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is this soap set so purposely upon the dish? Like the victim Last Supper, in fact. Yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something, or about to eat something.
Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than to attempt to eat it with chopsticks.
I bet that's gotta be hard to do.
And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate.
Might there not be some other explanation?
Please, give me another explanation. I'm looking right at you.
Some material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap. Sorry.
Whoa!
it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer.
It's flickering again.
It's being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really. For no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite.
Yet it wrecked your stomach so thoroughly.
That begs the
Yeah.
You left sobbing.
But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument, then.
Perhaps he is suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it.
The hell?
I can almost taste it. If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it.
The maniac's in the mailbox.
He's a maniac! But there are no signs of any food in this room at all.
Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it?
Take that! Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop.
That reminds me, have you guys seen the Assassin's Teapot?
No.
This kettle that, if you pour it a certain way, one of the chambers has regular tea, and the other one has, I guess, poison, or it's two chambers, like, you just gotta tilt it a certain way to access either. Quite
Jeez.
fascinating.
They should have done that in the original Phoenix Wright games. Considering that this is a tribute to that one particular case.
Oh.
There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. Cause of death identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deduction so far.
Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspeare was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing remarkable about that. What troubles me
Is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems.
Let's closely examine the scene in the crab again for some more clues.
A clue! Take that! Did the man dine and die alone? These other teacups suggest the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. Ah. In other words, this is a strong indication that the victim's Last Supper, there was a guest present. At the very least, we could say now with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know who exactly was in the room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed. What reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now.
Afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap.
That's another word we have to look up. But the identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about.
Okay, halcyon. Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially.
I wonder what they are. Let's see. Titles read... The picture of Monsieur Lecoq? Canterbury Yearnings and... Wait a minute. Meal for... Gaborou?
Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before.
It could just be an incredible coincidence, but... They're the exact same 3 books Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. Also, halcyon means denouncing a period of time in the past that was idyllically happy and peaceful.
Okay. What? Yes, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed. Soseki-san had just been to a bookshop and bought them, that's right.
Now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim.
Yet Mr. Natsume claims never to have been here before.
Oh.
What does this mean, do you think?
I really don't know what to make of it.
Take that!
Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so. It's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth. Ah! Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop. But that's just a coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No, never. Non-negotiable. You can't bring your own
Y'all
copy.
could have. Sorry, I'll say it when you finish your line.
Because if you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours.
Tsunase could have just said cat shredded them.
The cat ate my homework. Oh wait, no, they tried that in Cat Dog and nobody believed them.
Cat ripped my books up and peed on them. He was mad he didn't get cuddles.
I'm trying to read, Cat. Get away. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. Yo, so you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. Hey, yo, yeah, ooh, yeah, go, Yo. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there's only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in his room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. Not again, not again, not again. Not again!
Well then, Mr. Natsume, it would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard again.
But wait!
There's no...
Hold your horses!
Yes?
Door, key, locked, entry, exit, entirely impossible. He's so flustered he's being even stranger than normal.
You think this is an alibi? You could have just made a copy.
I don't have any money to make copies of keys. What?
You live in the same building after all. You have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure.
But... Misery me!
What money? He's spending it on books and fancy cat food.
Sorry, I'm taking a swim for. Sorry,
Little
sir.
bow ties.
And don't forget those fabulous outfits.
I have a very good dentist for these teeth, I'll have you know.
Sir, you'll have to get your chance to give your sword the sword later.
What about now?
Nah.
The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. Arrgh, you horrible Hairlock Sholmes. He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he?
no dilly, darling. Upside, there's your carriage waiting.
Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but... You have to help me, please, please. I'm innocent! Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me!
Oh.
And so, we took care of his kitty cat. Unfortunately, we gave him the wrong flavor catnip. It was supposed to be number 57, we gave him number 55, and there was cat hairballs everywhere.
Oh gosh.
His evil curse still apparently unbroken.
Poor Wagahai.
So Seki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you.
How sus is this?
Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now.
Hey now, I did not give you permission to do that.
Well, fuck you, we're doing
Yes.
it anyway.
You can go fuck yourself, because we're doing this now. Yes, that's right. And of course.
Yes,
Oh, you
yes,
must have bought it
fuck
out
you
for you.
too!
Okay.
Oh no.
What?
Okay, you can touch everything, even the body.
I don't
I don't
want
want to touch your
though.
body.
That's disturbing. What are you, wild? What are you, a fool?
Yes.
Do you have will you have gloves?
What are you, a clown?
Are you just gonna examine or what?
No. We have to talk first before we examine things.
You forgot. Oh. It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, who discovered Mr. Shamspeare.
Ah, Mr. John Garadeb, yes. I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the fuck I said I'm lying. No, bad.
It's okay. I expect we could find. Expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual.
Right, we must remember to go and talk to him later then. And unfortunately, there will be no, hot coffee being spewed on his crotch circus, so...
Thought it was hot tea.
Either
Yeah.
way, his crotch is not getting burned.
Boy.
And here
He's
we
spared.
have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of some kind.
Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. Chew. It seems
No,
that in this district. Okay.
something. Yeah, I was worried like something was like saliva was coming up my nose or something like that.
Ah, okay.
Painful.
It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins.
I think I've seen one of those in an old Charlie Chaplin film. I think it was the kid.
Ah, I see. Yes, now you've pointed it out. I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here...
That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for light and heating. Lights and
So-
heating.
If you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold?
Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot your money at the bank.
Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Oh, speaking of which, I forgot to mention, I'm putting a meter up in about 30 minutes after we get home.
Oh, one of the teacups that Mr. Shamspear and his guests drank from last night. Don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside.
I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the
As
cups
opposed
are
to
both-
the sweet poison. Sorry.
I swear there's a song called Sweet Poison somewhere.
Thank God we have Google to look it up.
It's true. So, who's Mr. Shamspears? And the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from.
But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later.
We allowed to do that?
Well, hey, we do it in Phoenix, right?
I don't think in real life that works.
What's this?
It looks like part of an envelope, I think.
Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened.
Is that significant?
Oh, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sign of the letter or the rest of the envelope in there. In fact, is there?
Ah, she's right.
Yet, here we have the torn off end of an envelope. Just strikes me as unusual.
It's not unusual to find envelopes on the floor.
Do 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 do.
I agree. We better take this just in case.
As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. Vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay.
What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property. It's extraordinary.
It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh,
What is it, Mrs. Sato?
if you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose.
Oh, yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just here. Was it Mr. Shamspear who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting this room.
Look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. The outside, there's a little ledge. There's something on it.
What, outside?
Oh, inside. Of course, outside. It's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap.
It did snow all last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those those two snow-covered lumps?
What? Oh. Alright, the screen is flickering again. It's more bars of soap.
Soap? What are the bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window?
I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that.
Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window? I think perhaps we should take one. There are two, after all.
Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap.
Ah,
You see, in the middle there. It's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but
some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain.
looks like the Hinomaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? Wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand.
Expensive? Then what's it doing in this ramshackle old room?
Oh, you know, in his off time, Mr. Shamspear makes soap, and he just takes some samples from work.
I was gonna say, maybe he just collects soap. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh? Inspector Gregson, back so soon?
After I threw the little Japanese fella in the clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be condoned all by the yard.
Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then.
Or Mr. Natsumi must be feeling very low being back in a cell again so soon.
I'm sure. We should probably go and...
What the hell?
What the fuck?
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? What the hell? What the hell? What the... Bombi!
Out! Out, brief candle! Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player! That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part?
A tale told by an idiot full of a sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Indeed, oh happy day! Ugh!
Did he just die again?
Walking Dead!
And his legs are bent or very unnatural positions.
Yeah, I think you would break something. The fella is it dead after all?
What was that nonsense he was saying, though?
I think... Yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5.
Shakespeare. So it was... that the victim, Mr. William Shamspear, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. And Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime, whatever that now was.
You get the poison from Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, wouldn't that be something? That would be a nice little, what do they call it?
Iron.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a Juliet character, I'll step up to the plate. Be that voice.
Well, I mean, technically,
No.
I can't say anything else, but technically, Circus.
Whatever do you think will happen now?
Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, you missed the whole soliloquy the victim did.
Oh shit. I was actually yeah, sorry I vanished for that quite a while. I was putting clothes away.
Yeah, the guy woke up and then collapsed again.
Guy stood up like a zombie, made a little monologue, and then, yeah, dropped. Dropped down to the floor again. Seems very likely that Mr. Shamspear did consume poison, as we deduced. It wasn't an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder. Till the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody.
I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh? What's this?
Who is that?
What's that man doing over there?
Wait.
He looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings.
It's the Curious George guy.
Pervert.
Something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo.
Excuse me, can we have a word? Ah!
You heard about the rare male calico who wants it for himself.
And whoever voices him has to be Squidward.
I can't do it.
He just ran.
I don't think I can do a Squidward unless that sounds like him. Yes, I can.
Then we got a squid.
That's perfect.
Hold on, I need a Squidward line.
Try imagining him in his underwear.
Imagine him
I
saying,
might as well sleep for 100 years or so.
just imagine him saying, "I hate you, SpongeBob."
I hate you, SpongeBob.
So,
Now I sound like I'm doing a New Yorker.
it sounds like you're doing like Squidward from the Bronx.
I
Hey,
hate all
SpongeBob,
of you.
forget about it.
I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it?
Don't worry, in the next part, you'll be able to hear a lot more of Squidward over there. I
Here,
do
please hit me as hard as you can.
Don't hold back. I do too, but I don't remember. Oh, glorious day! I'm still alive!
Well, it wouldn't be the first time you ruined everything.
Hey, mister, wanna blow some bubbles? Only 25 cents! Here we are again, the eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode.
We're here because Mr. Gyarados, the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget.
Ah, you chops, eh? Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday.
It was quite a trial.
Why is he in jail now?
Yep. And that way I don't have to deal with the bull. That's the one and only time I will do that tonight. As much
As
for
for more
Mr. As much for Mr. Garrett as anyone, really.
Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bully nonsense this morning.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garrett.
Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room.
Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? Oh, no, sir. No, don't get up. No, please, please. We're at your house. You don't need to stand up for us.
Shut up, boy.
Must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened.
Ah, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bully answer.
That's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door?
Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour.
It's true, That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior. You'd have to kick your door down every morning.
Oh, damn.
Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that.
Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden?
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found the far side of the door.
The victim's name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, William Shamspear took the ground floor room 3 months ago now.
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Destitute?
Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bully screw loose.
So hard to choose which category Soseki-san would fall into.
Not both. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
Yeah, I agree with her.
He was doing research as well.
Research? Into what?
Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare. Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that. I must say, having two men fall in love with each other like that so romantically, it sent a tear down my eye.
Even after they killed the dad.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, like, it was men doing all the parts anyways.
No, not necessarily.
That's what I read back in the day.
Yeah, but not when it came to Shakespeare's plays, especially in this time period. There were actresses back then.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated.
And some of them have been made into movies by Kurosawa. Blood of Throne is a Macbeth movie. Ran is King Lear, and he did another one that was based on Hamlet, but it was like in Tokyo. Anyway, it seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there? And by the way, Sylph wanted to grab a few.
I want the crown, but also I want the hat that looks like the Mad Hatter type thing.
I want that cannon. I'm about to steal that cannon.
Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. Imagine he and Mr. Shakespeare would have had much in common.
Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that.
Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude. He was thinking that, right?
Whispering in this sense.
Oh,
Whispering into Sasato's ear. Hey, I have a little joke. It's not funny. Why are all my jokes not funny to you? Because they have no punchline, Mr. Naruhodo. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between them and this morning?
Well, now, it must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time. Mr. Garrett noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspear got back. And the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there.
Well, thank you. That was very illuminating.
unintended?
I guess.
Is everything alright, Mrs. Sato?
Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garrett, you're up here in your room all evening, if I've understood correctly.
Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg. We didn't even have elevators either.
And how is it that you seem to know? What are precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean?
My dear, have you ever seen the Alfred Hitchcock movie Vertigo?
That's a very good point.
What the?
Can't imagine that you can hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here.
Well, Sonny, let me tell you about women.
And Shakespearean actors. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it?
I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's a bully outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I? Even though I was a spy in my infantry.
And how did you know, Mr. Guradeb?
It's the gas woman. The gas tells me everything.
The gas? What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything?
Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
Yes, I more or less worked that out.
We room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main.
Yes, I understand that too.
Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen?
Well, obviously the room would get brighter.
Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment.
What? They dim? Why?
Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim materially, might it?
Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe.
That's supposed to happen, though. It sounds rather undesirable.
Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless. Long worn out. And barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they grow brighter in the rest of the house.
Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere.
You got it.
Oh, of course. Because when people come back home in the evening, and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires.
Hold on.
Clever.
In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Gosh. It's fascinating, Mr. Garrett. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, well, nothing to it, really.
And I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Gyarados is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place.
Hi.
Hi, Elliot.
Elliot is playing the role of Wagahai.
There you go. How many cat hair balls has he thrown up?
Well, not one today, thankfully.
Oh, thank goodness. I can sleep easy in this cold, hard cell. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again.
A good idea.
Alright, well, we're gonna have to end here.
Great, Elliot.
So, we'll have to end this and then we'll have to pick it up next week for more exciting tales of Natsume and his cat.
Played by Elliot.
Played by Elliot, yes. Because, as we know, Wagahai needs to be played by somebody that is, a pristine actor. And Elliot has won 9 Academy Awards based on many of his roles.
Oh.
And every time he gets up on stage, he's like, I'd like to thank all the dogs that prepared me for this role. Alright, everybody. everybody. So while I sit in this cold hard cell for the next 7 days, wondering how Wagahai's doing, I just want to let everybody know that Sexy Nutsmeg is my porn name. That's right. I live a secret life that I have not told Mr. Naruhodo Esquire yet. I can't imagine what it must be like telling people that there are crude drawings of me somewhere out there. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoy your week, and we'll be back next week where you'll find out whether I get to live another day. Although, spoiler alert, you know the answer because you saw the case that happened months later, so this should not be a spoiler to everybody. I get a not guilty verdict. It's just gonna take a long time to find out how that be the case. So, until then, au revoir, and meow 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 meow
Meow meow meow meow meow meow meow meow meow meow meow meow meow meow meow meow.
Bye
meow.
bye.